All right, welcome back everybody, and welcome to the second half of October. So here it is, Thursday, October 16th, 4:15. Temperature is 70 degrees, the humidity is 43%, and it actually feels kind of cool. So as much as I wanted to and intended to treat the bees every 5 days for 4 or 5 times, like I said several times in the previous video that covered the first half of October, basically what's working out due to a variety of reasons, life, weather, work schedule, whatever you want to call it, I am treating the bees on a weekly basis. So I started October's treatment schedule on the 2nd. 5 days later would have been the 7th, right? I didn't get around to treating them for the second time until the 9th. So 9th plus 5 is 14. Here it is, the 16th. So essentially, I'm going to treat the hives every Thursday for this month and maybe into November, depending on the temperatures. And don't quote me on this, but based off memory, I believe oxalic acid is good or safe to use or doesn't cause a lot of issues with the hives as long as it's used above 55 degrees. So considering it's 70, sure, we have a few cold evenings, but for the most part, this time of day, which is typically when I will be treating them, most likely over the next 2 to 3 weeks, it should be above 55 degrees. So let's get to it. Let's get out there, show you a quick look at the entrances like usual. And then, yeah, let's get them treated for the 3rd time in October. All right, yeah, let's take a quick look around. They're pretty active. They were very active yesterday afternoon as well. Such a beautiful sight. This hive is the one that I brought some attention to, meaning they were dragging out a lot of larvae. That's kind of in the very end stage of development. That may have stopped, who knows. The entrance activity looks okay. I saw them bringing in some pollen the other day, so they're feeding new larvae, so we'll see. I'll get into them this weekend and kind of see if anything's changed. But yeah, nice activity out here. It's a really nice time of day, especially with the sun coming through the trees like that. But yeah, let's get to it. All right, just got about 10 hives done in 10 minutes. Things are going just fine like usual. But yeah, feels good to be out here and treating the bees, even if it's just on a weekly basis. I was talking to Dr. Jack Kamen down at the University of Florida Bee Lab about a few things regarding oxalic acid, and during that conversation he mentioned that this time of year and over the winter, if you treat your hives like once a month, it's basically good enough to keep the mites at bay. So just something to consider. I mean, your bees are your bees, so whether you want to treat them heavily, treat them weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, or not at all, you know, that is the luxury we all have with freedom of choice and how you keep your bees. All right, it's just about 4:50 and I am right at 30 minutes. I just started treating the last hive, which should be done in about a minute. So yeah, that's about average. It's about 30 minutes to treat 20 hives. So in case you haven't seen the previous videos, I am a big fan of the InstaVap, and this is their original. They got like 4 on the market now, but I mean, this thing is quick, at least for me, but the other ones are supposed to be even quicker. All right, that's it for now. That's how the second half of October's video is going to start, by treating the hives. I'm not sure what I'll get into this weekend with them. I do need to check a few things, but anticipate next Thursday I'll be out here again to treat them one more time. All right, stay tuned to see how the rest of October goes. Hey, good morning everybody. So it is Saturday, October 18th, right at 7:40, 39 degrees, and I'm heading over to the Onslow County Farmers Market. So all I'm gonna say is this: I hope it's a better time than the previous I hope the cold weather doesn't keep people in until about halfway through the market, which I kind of suspect it will, but we'll see, right? And that's kind of been the norm the first hour or two. So 8 to 9 or 8 to 10, which is half of the market, is usually pretty slow, and then it starts picking up around 10, and then it finishes at 12. So yeah, I'll be there in about 15 minutes, get everything set up, show you a few quick looks if I happen to remember. But yeah, wish me luck today. All right, it is 8 o'clock and the market is open. I also just found out that Mumfest and another huge festival has been rescheduled from last week to today. So between that information and the weather, I don't know. We'll see, but let's walk around real quick. Hi, how are you? Morning.
Good morning.
All right, well, hey, that's that. It's 12:10. I'm on the way home. Not a bad market at all. Nowhere close to a few months ago, summertime, probably peak season. So I've just been telling myself, one, don't get disappointed. You have no control over how good or bad the market is. It's also later in the season, right? Later in the year, later in the market season. The temperatures, I'm sure, are going to impact who shows up and when. For instance, this morning when I got there, the temperatures were in, I believe, the low 40s at 8 o'clock. And again, here it is just after noon, and it's 72, which is extremely common for this area this time of year. Cold evening temps, cold overnight temps, and then by midday it warms up for a few hours, which is great for everybody, to include the bees. I have no doubt the bees are definitely stretching their legs and wings right now and enjoying the nice temperatures. But yeah, I mean, think about it, right? It's 40 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. I kind of feel like people aren't going to get out of bed and rush to the farmer's market as it opens. But anyway, again, not bad at all. It has been a month since the last time I was at the Onslow County Farmers Market. I know I told myself earlier this year I was going to try and do it every other week, but that seems to interfere with other things, projects at the house, family things, and then yeah, 2 months in between inspections because I was really getting into the markets, which is nice. It's nice meeting folks. It's nice selling some honey. Speaking of meeting folks, this morning met a couple that have relocated to the area from Connecticut that I shipped some honey to them late last year. We were trying to remember when that was, and I think we both came up with like late 2024. So that was kind of cool. That doesn't happen too often. But anyway, that's it for me. That's probably going to be it for my Saturday. No reason to get into the bees today. I'll probably do that maybe tomorrow afternoon. And I don't really need to get into all of them. In fact, I only want to get into a few of them, and that's a few of the hives that are truly single deeps, because I have a few other hives that have, well, they're either a double deep with a medium. Well, yeah, a double deep with a medium. So the thought process is get into the single deeps, quickly take a look at them, see what their food stores are looking like, and then if I can, which I think I can, move one of the mediums over from the double deeps, add to the singles, and it should give them a boost in food stores until the Hive Alive arrives. That's a mouthful. And I can get that on some of the hives that need food, which I am happy to say is not many. So for the first time in a very long time, I have not needed to feed the bees very heavily to get them really ready for the winter. And that's all thanks to the goldenrod and the fall nectar flow, which is mainly goldenrod, aster as well, that we experienced this year, which is also the first time in many, many years that I can remember that the fall nectar flow hasn't been disrupted by some kind of storm, tropical storm, hurricane, strong enough, no-name storm, but that has happened the majority of the years that I've been keeping bees. So the stars have finally aligned to where we had an awesome nectar flow this fall, which allowed the bees to pack away a ton of honey, which I was very tempted to harvest, but all things considered, mainly their health and well-being going into winter, I'm just gonna leave it. Also because I don't have to feed them as much, so it's kind of it's a win-win. All right, that's it for me. Stay tuned to see how the rest of October goes, and I will see y'all next time. All right, it is 12:40. Just got home and finished unpacking everything from the market. The temperature at the house is 74 degrees. The humidity is 52%. And just because I made a comment earlier, I'm very curious to see the activity in the bee yard today, given the overnight temps and then given the current temps. We'll just do a quick walk by, but yeah, everybody's looking good, pretty busy, which is generally what you want to see. Good morning and happy Sunday. So here it is, October 19th, right at 9:15, and I am heading down to Holly Ridge for their monthly open air market. We'll see how it goes. I'm not expecting a lot, and I'm hoping to do better than, okay. But just like I said the other day, leaving Onslow County's market, or farmer's market, it is later in the season. I don't think they really advertise this too much other than a Facebook post, unlike the larger markets. So we'll see, right? Speaking of yesterday, and the open source information and power of social media, not only was Mullet Fest rescheduled for yesterday, but come to find out, Burgal had their autumn festival. And I asked another local vendor and friend how she finds out about all this stuff, because I feel like I'm missing out, or I'm missing on the larger festivals, because one, I don't know about them, and two, I don't know where to look to find them well in advance so I can plan to them. So I'm going to continue this year with the farmers market, the open air market, a few of the smaller ones, and then basically make a plan over the winter while I have some time to participate in the larger festivals, not just the markets, but the festivals next year. All right, that's it for now. I'll be down to Holly Ridge in maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Give you a few shots of the market for today, and maybe throughout the day I'll get up and walk around a little bit. And yeah, wish me luck. Hopefully it's a good day, but we'll see here come 2 o'clock when everything's wrapping up. All right, well, it's 9:40. I just made it down here and decided to do something a little different. I just focused on getting everything unloaded, picked a spot, and now I'm just walking across the street to set everything up, and then I know I will be up and running by 10 o'clock because it really doesn't take me a lot of time to get going. All right, hey, here it is, 2 o'clock on the way home. Not a bad day. Basically right on par with yesterday. And if nothing has changed in the last week, I know there's a few folks at the barbershop that would like to purchase some honey. So considering it's Sunday and I need to get a haircut, that is on my agenda of things to do today. So we'll see. All right, so since I just got home and it's 80 degrees, humidity's in the mid 50% range, it's about 2:30 now. Let's just walk out to the yard and see what that looks like today. I'm not sure what that was, but definitely spooked some kind of critter. Let's see. Not as much activity as I thought, but nonetheless, still decent activity. So let's walk around, look at the entrances, and see what that looks like. Okay. Yeah, not as much on the back side, but yeah, coming over to the front. Pretty nice. This is one I'm very curious about. If you didn't catch that part of the last inspection video, they were pulling a lot of brood out, and another beekeeper that lives pretty close coincidentally just shared with me yesterday that he found a hive with some chalk brood. So who knows what's causing it. I'm really hoping it was just maybe a varroa mite issue, and the reason I say that is because I've been treating them on a weekly basis. But yeah, okay. Some look pretty busy, some are just doing what they can. But yeah, that's it for me for this weekend. I'm not gonna do anything with the bees today. I have a few other things to get done. So stay tuned, right, as I like to say. And let's see how they look next weekend, because I plan on inspecting them at that point. I'm also hoping to have some Hive Alive in by then, so I can add a shim to just a few hives, mainly the single deeps, which is only what, 2 of them, and then I have quite a few hives, 1, 2, 3, 4 that are double deeps with a medium. So I have 2 singles and 4 multi stacks, meaning, and I think I said this before at some point, I'll probably get into the double deeps with a medium, and whichever one has adequate food stores, most likely I'll move one of those mediums over to the 2 deeps. But it's still beneficial to have emergency food stores on hand, meaning the Hive Alive. So I'm still gonna order it. I'll just, store it in the meantime. But yeah, overall, does not look bad at all out here. All right, welcome back everybody. So it is Friday, October 24th, right at 4 p.m. The temperature is 70 degrees. The humidity is 48%. It feels absolutely fantastic. And I'm about to get out into the yard to treat the bees for another weekly treatment, which should have been yesterday, but a few things came up. I had to postpone it. So I'm definitely going to get it in today here in a few minutes. And then the plan is to treat them for the last time in October next Thursday. So that'll be each Thursday in October, so 4 treatments. I plan to do practically the same for November, or shift to monthly treatments. And given the last treatment for October is going to be at the very end of the month, if I shift to monthly, I'll make that a point to make it to treat them around the middle of the month. So not much to it. If you're new to the channel, feel free to watch. This is how I treat the bees. If you've been watching the channel for a little bit, nothing you haven't seen before. So let's get to it. Let's get the hives treated. Since it's somewhat of a tradition at this point, let's walk around, look at the entrances, and then I'll get started here in a second. So again, 70 degrees, very moderate humidity. It does actually feel pretty cool, but as you can see, the bees are enjoying what is very nice weather. Everything looks okay from an outside perspective. But yeah, since the weather is going to be about the same this weekend, I might make it a point to get into a few just to see how they're doing. And like I said earlier, there's a few hives that are double deeps with plenty of food and a medium, and I have two, I believe, two single deeps. So if I can move one of those boxes over to the singles and supply them with some food, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I'll just supplemental feed like I've discussed quite a few times at this point. All right, with that said, let me get my respirator on. Let's get the vaporizer powered up, and let's get to it. All right, it is just after 4:30 and I am wrapping things up. Everything has gone well, which is all I can really ask for. Hopefully this treatment only helps the bees battle the mites in an effort to help them survive the winter. All right, hey, it's Saturday, October 25th, right at 2:40. Temperature is 68 degrees. Humidity's 46%. I just finished emptying the shed because I'm having it insulated on Monday, but I noticed an uptick in bee activity, and I walked out to the yard a few moments ago. I figured it was worth grabbing the camera just to show y'all what's going on. And the thing that's going on is a lot of curiosity with hive number 1. First and foremost, check out this activity, which is absolutely fantastic to see. But hive number 1 is the one here in the 3rd position, and the reason I am curious about what's going on there, I wonder if we're looking at some mild robbing. And the reason I say that is because there are bees trying to get into the hive from all angles, which is usually a sign of robbing. You can see from the top there and the side, there's some fight activity going on in the front, and that one was the one that was dragging out a lot of very mature larvae, uncapping it. Who knows if it was a mite issue? I've treated them, as y'all have seen, but the rest of the yard is looking fantastic. So I might pop the top on number 1 tomorrow. I think the weather is going to be about the same, which is favorable to get into the hives. But I might pop the top on number 1 just to see if I can determine what they have going on or whatever's happening today. All right, one quick look. But yeah, I just wanted to show y'all that. I just wanted to get it on camera, on film. But yeah, something is definitely going on with this one. The activity actually looked pretty nice yesterday, so I thought they were kind of rebounding, and they might still be, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'll get into the hives tomorrow. Number 1's definitely on the top of the list to see what's going on, because they got really nice activity. And like I said a few times, the two single deeps. Maybe there's one more. Yeah, the plan is to still get some food on them that another colony has produced in the form of some of the ones with double deeps with a medium. But yeah, let's take one more look. This is absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure the bees are really enjoying afternoon weather like we're experiencing today. All right, here it is, Thursday, October 30th, just after 5 o'clock. Temperature 65 degrees, humidity's 59%, and it has been semi-rainy and cold for the majority of the week. I'm just going out here out of curiosity, really just to see kind of how the hives are looking, if there's any activity, and as I'm wrapping up October's video. So I was going to treat them today. I've decided not to, mainly because it is a little later in the day than I'd like it to be for treating purposes. So I will make it a point to do that tomorrow, which will conclude October's video. Let's take a look, see if anything looks unusual, which it does not. There's actually pretty decent activity. But yeah, it's been a wet one this week, and we have a storm front moving up the coast, so we're gonna get 2 days of sunshine, which are tomorrow being Friday and Saturday, and then starting Sunday for the next few days it's going to be wet again. But everything looks good. The activity looks nice. It seems like they're definitely stretching their legs and their wings with the change of the weather, and it has been moderately cool, and I have not added my entrance reducers just yet, but that is the plan, probably this weekend. So Saturday being November 1st, the joys of living very close to the air station. I say that completely joking. It is pretty cool, especially showing the kids the different types of aircraft. That's one of the things I enjoy from my childhood, is sitting outside the Dover Air Force Base with my grandparents and watching the different aircraft. So the fact that we live right here and the kids can enjoy that from the comfort of their backyard, I think is pretty cool. But yeah, just a quick look at the hives, just to show you the entrance activity for late October, given the time of day and the temp and the humidity. So again, I'll get out here tomorrow. The weather looks like it should be able to support me treating the hives for the final time in October. And not to mention, last week that was postponed by a day, so I treated on Friday. Tomorrow being Friday, it just kind of works out. Add some entrance reducers over the weekend, and then as y'all can see, as much as I have mentioned the shims, Hive Alive, and all these things, I still have not got around to adding those. But as the seasons are changing, as the weather is changing and the temps and everything, I need to do that soon, which will most likely be next weekend. So hopefully the weather holds out, because this weekend, well, let me go show you real quick. Because I will be completely finishing the honey house. I had a local contractor come out on Monday and spray 2 inches of closed cell foam, and it feels great in here. I've been running a very small space heater, this thing, really just to test out its capabilities along with the insulation, and it's been set to 75 along with the dehumidifier set to 50%. And it has been maintaining an extremely stable temperature and humidity, and it feels great. I said I'm gonna get out here and completely finish it. That was a little bit of a bold statement. I have a few ideas with the storage areas, more for aesthetics and everything, but at a bare minimum, I'm gonna panel the walls, the workbench area, and the idea is to get the majority of the ceiling between the storage areas paneled. So that'll be a cool start to November's video. I'll just have to I'll have to make it a point to remind myself to just kind of share periodic updates as I go. But this was a project that I put off for quite a while. We got the shed last summer, so here we are just over, well, a year and a few months later. But this was a nice addition as I plan on finishing things up and just making it a nice finished building, multi-purpose building. But as y'all have seen in previous videos, definitely use it for a lot of honey harvesting. So got a few plans. Stay tuned to the channel. You'll see how tomorrow goes, of course. And then yeah, definitely check back around mid-November to see how the first half of November went. And again, that's what I plan on doing. November is going to start out by really getting the honey house looking pretty nice. So, all right, stay tuned. As long as everything works out, I'll be treating the hives tomorrow, and that'll wrap it up for October. All right, welcome back, everybody. And as promised, it is the following day. So it is Friday, October 31st. Happy Halloween. Right at 4:30, the temperature is 68 degrees, the humidity is 45%, and I am going to treat the hives for the final time in October. So this will be the 4th treatment on a weekly basis using 4 grams. I'm still kicking around the idea to continue this throughout November or transition into a monthly treatment regime, which is typically like the middle of the month. So stay tuned for that. That'll obviously be part of next month's video, but not much to it. Let me get suited up, get out there, treat the bees so I can take the kids trick-or-treating here in a little bit. So let's go. And like usual, before I get started, let's walk around, just take a quick look at the entrances. Pretty nice flight activity. I mean, given it is about, you know, 70 degrees. I say that, but these 2 hives, okay. Yeah, there's a little bit more so down here. That's what I kind of peeked my head over the hive stand to see how things are looking. Yeah, this is a pretty common scene this time of year as the bees start dragging out the weak and dead. But yeah, let's get to it and get out of here. All right, it's just about 10 after 5. I'm finishing up second to last hive, so I'll be done in the next few minutes. Overall, I think everything went well as usual. If you've watched the channel for a while, you know this is pretty routine business this time of year, so I'm just gonna wrap things up. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Cole's Farm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you're interested in any honey, just click the link in the banner. That'll take you over to our Square site. And from there, just pick and choose what you want. As you're checking out in the cart, you can adjust your date and time for pickup up to a week in advance. So just be sure to pay attention to that, so you don't have to place your order and pick it up the same day. And we do ship. If you have any questions, just reach out. Several ways to contact us. Just pick and choose whatever works best for you. But yeah, that does it for October. One more hive to go, and the hives are successfully treated 4 times over 4 weeks. And if you haven't done so, be sure to subscribe, because November is going to be pretty cool. As I alluded to earlier, the honey house is going to go through a complete transition, so I am looking forward to that. It's going to be a long weekend, but that will all be captured and shared in the first half of November's video, so be sure to check that out, which should publish about mid-month. So stay tuned. I'm looking forward to getting the honey house just looking nice and finished. And there will be a few things that I probably postpone for over the winter, but for the most part, at least the wall paneling and most of the ceiling paneling should be up. and hopefully I start moving things back into the honey house sometime next week. But stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for watching. Cole's Farm, Jacksonville, North Carolina. See y'all next time.